Tonight on CTV, homeless shelters in the EMS industry are impacted by the holidays, as well as the return of one of CSU basketball's best players.
Then, an exhibition exploring the current state of gun violence comes to Fort Collins.
And learn more about these mysterious fluffy decorations showing up all around campus.
All this and more tonight on CTV.
Good evening, Rams. I'm JJ McKinney.
And I'm Mattison Brumagim. Welcome to CTV News.
With the rise of mass shootings across the country, gun violence has been a constant topic of conversation across the United States. Now, it's here in Fort Collins.
One fatal shot killed a Fort Collins man after a vehicle pursuit last week. 51-year-old Justin Anderson, who had multiple felony and misdemeanor warrants, fled police northbound on I-25. After a precision immobilization technique successfully stopped Anderson, he pulled a rifle on the deputies. They fired back at Anderson until one fatal shot resulted in his death. He was the only occupant of the vehicle and no one else was injured.
A man who, according to police, was shot in Old Town this September after being accused of chasing the man who shot him with a machete was just arrested. Fort Collins police responded to reports of gunfire in Old Town Fort Collins on September 17th and found 36-year-old Loveland resident Francisco Sinez filled with gunshot wounds. As Sinez was taken to the hospital, police found the suspected shooter, a 21-year-old Fort Collins man, who was then released from custody pending further investigation. Witnesses' accounts determined that the incident stemmed from an argument between the two groups at a bar, where Sinez began chasing the 21-year-old man with a machete. The man then shot back in self-defense. Sinez was identified in California and extradited to Larimer County, where he was charged with attempted murder. As gun violence ramps up, awareness becomes much more important.
And now, an important exhibit to highlight its current state is coming to Fort Collins.
Here to tell us more about this is our reporter, Kate Sherman. Kate?
Thanks, guys. When you walk into the Hatton Gallery, you are faced with the sounds of gunshots and the abstract images of violence. It's called American Roulette, and it has been put together by a group of artists looking to spark a conversation about gun violence. Warning, some of the art and sounds may be sensitive to some viewers. 7 different artists have come together to create an exhibition that has made its way around the country and is currently in Fort Collins. This is the American Roulette exhibition. It includes a series of art about gun violence in the United States. I talked to Dominic Sansoni, the founder of the exhibition and an artist whose pieces are used in the exhibition. He said it's not about gun control or politics, but rather facilitating a conversation about gun violence.
I think, there's kind of this notion that people that differ from us politically are going to be jerks, are going to be confrontational, and they're not. They're willing to engage in those conversations as long as we're respectful to them, and so that's been a very, I don't want to say surprise, but it's been a definite positive that when we have had pushback on things, it hasn't been in any sort of mean or demeaning fashion.
The American Roulette exhibition is currently located at the Hatton Gallery in the Visual Arts Building here at Colorado State University. It showcases the work of Michelle Graves, C.J. Hungerman, Cesar Conde, Dominic Sansoni, Anthony Guntrin, Yusuf Del Valle, and Falah Tamba. The exhibition will be open until December 22nd. These artists have sparked a needed discussion on gun violence through their work. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kate. Now switching topics. The holidays are a time for friends and family to come together for the winter under one roof and celebrate the blessings in life. However, many of those in less fortunate situations in the community experiencing homelessness are facing challenges to stay warm as we head into the colder months. In response, homeless shelters across Fort Collins are doing everything they can to help those in need survive the harsh northern Colorado winter. Michael Galloway and his son Bodie have gone through trials and tribulations to get to a better place. From escaping a house no longer deemed safe, Galloway has to face the perils of homelessness just to survive.
It's a very hard decision between choosing the love of your life or choosing the child. The situation we were living in was way worse than what we're in now, and it was not safe.
Without the love of his life and left with nowhere to go and the gas tank on empty, Galloway kept his head high, searching for a new home.
It is a test of personal mental fortitude in order to do this.
Galloway eventually found his way to Annette Zacharias and the staff of the Family Housing Network. Homeless shelters like the Family Housing Network are all across Fort Collins, with accommodations made for housing families, singles, and their pets.
It's really super chilly, so we definitely make a priority of that shelter and food component and that safety component.
However, the cold months of the holidays can be unforgiving. With the recent overflow of citizens experiencing homelessness, some have to try to survive in below freezing temperatures and nothing but tents.
We are hoping to open up our winter overflow shelter. They desperately need some staffing. We need people to come up and be willing to be trained and to help us work in the shelters.
The Family Housing Network knows the citizens of Fort Collins experiencing homelessness are strong and will be there to give them hope.
Being homeless is not the end. You know, there are people out there who will help you. You just have to find it. And this is the first step.
One finger, all right.
With the constant overflow of those in homeless shelters and at the shelters getting left out on the cold, I apologize. With multiple homeless residents getting left out in the cold during this time of year and beyond, many families could, and I apologize. With the constant overflow of those in homelessness and shelters getting left out in the cold, it is a fear that many residents face during this time of year. They fear that they cannot give their loved ones and be able to give them warmth. Luckily, homeless shelters like the Family Housing Network are always accepting volunteers.
A man riding an electric bicycle was seriously injured in a crash with an SUV Tuesday morning. The crash occurred on the intersection of LeMay Avenue and Prospect Road. The biker was heading east on Prospect Road while the driver was traveling west. As the SUV was attempting to turn left into a business parking lot, the bicycle collided with their vehicle. The rider was taken to the hospital to be treated for serious injuries while the SUV driver was unharmed. The investigation is ongoing. Police say that anyone with information about the crash can speak to Officer Matt Breed at this number.
Last night saw the return of one of CSU's best basketball players.
Here to tell us more is Leah Cackowski. How was it, Leah?
Well, Madison, it was great. And if you were a fan at any of the sold-out crowds last year, you probably not only recognized David Roddy on the court, but also perhaps a certain point guard who had a knack for the basket. And if you just realized this last year, well, you're a bandwagon, because senior Isaiah Stevens has started in literally all of his 91 collegiate games with the Rams. And to say he's an impactful player would be an understatement, as he's an absolute stud at the point, directing the offense, showing off incredible ball handling skills, and demonstrating a beautiful touch. However, after a foot injury he suffered during practice in mid-October, the alarm bells started ringing for a Stevenless preseason. Well, fear no more, because we finally got to see his play last night. Though it wasn't anything extraordinary against Loyola Marymount, he still contributed in a big way, going 5 for 11 with 13 points and 4 assists. And for a guy that was expected to be out much longer, I'll take his 19 minutes of action as a very good sign. In the end, CSU won handily 87-71, advancing to 6-2 on the young season. And the prospects of Ram basketball just became much brighter. That's all I have for you right now, but be sure to stick around for more sporting news later in the show. Madison and JJ, back to you.
Thanks, Leah. We look forward to hearing more sports news later in the show. Before we take a short break, we'll pass it over to Adam Carlson, here to give us the weather rundown for the rest of the week.
Take it away, Adam.
Thank you, JJ and Madison. I'm here to give you all the news about Colorado weather, some of which may blow you away. So let's breeze right into it. Looking at current conditions, we're going to see 35 degrees and cloudy outside with humidity at 63%. But this isn't where it gets interesting. Windy weather is nothing new for Colorado. Entering December, we are already starting to see higher wind speeds across the state as a whole. While we do not see any major storms in Fort Collins coming, it is best to be prepared for a storm like we saw last December, where we got winds of over 100 miles per hour. Now, looking at overnight lows, we'll see the maps all over the place. We have wind warnings all over the eastern plain and in Craig. And then we'll see we have some red flag warnings in Colorado Springs, Pueblo, and Lamar. What those mean for you is that there's high winds and low humidity, meaning chance for some fire. Vail and Telluride also have those winter snow warnings, Vail even having an avalanche warning through Saturday. So maybe reconsider your ski plans. Now, tomorrow's highs, not much better. Same thing, carrying on through the rest of Friday. A lot of those winds and red flag warnings. However, those should be all resolved by then. And everything's kind of heating up a little bit. We're seeing 50s all across the board generally, and then some 30s in the mountain ranges. Tomorrow's forecast is going to be 44 degrees and windy. Not as humid, or with humidity of 43%, keeping us out of that red flag zone, and the wind's going to be 24 miles per hour. With that wind, it's not as bad, but we could see some gusts of up to 40 miles per hour. And once again, it's dark as ever, 4:33 p.m. as our sunset time. Looking at the 5-day forecast, we're going to see that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are all kind of nice weather. 40 degrees on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 39, sunny. Thursday and Friday, again, cloudy and sunny, and in those 40s and 30s, giving us a little bit of heat going into finals week. And that brings me to the end of the weather for you all tonight. But don't go away. After the break, JJ and Mattison will bring you stories such as the holidays' impact on the EMS industry and other community news. Stay tuned.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy.
Ugh, my bad.
Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, a fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
The holidays bring a lot of joy and cheer, but members of our community can be impacted by this time of year a little differently. Christmas is near and so is the holiday cheer, but this time of year looks differently for emergency medical service providers who provide service to our community 24/7, 365 days a year.
We end up working on holidays a lot. Our families just kind of adjust to that, and we may have Thanksgiving on Friday or Saturday instead of Thursday, Christmas on Christmas Eve, but we make it work.
This time of year has a great impact on the number of emergencies needing attention.
It's a difference in call volume. Weather definitely makes a big difference. We have a lot more accidents due to ice and snowy conditions like we've had over the last couple of days. We have a lot more trips and falls outside, slipping on the ice, things like that.
With more people traveling on the road during the holidays, the chance for car crashes increases. This year, the National Safety Council estimates that 371 people may die on U.S. roads this Christmas holiday period.
We may behave in accordance with our experiences in those situations in our own lives that might make us a little bit more careful or cautious. Wear our seatbelts, wear helmets, because we've seen the things that result from people who don't. how the community can help us is being engaged and involved in their own preparedness and being prepared to take care of themselves and each other. The things that people can do in that regard are learn CPR, learn how to use an AED, learn how to control bleeding and apply tourniquets.
Emergency medical service providers are essential to the community, but knowing the increased dangers associated with the holidays can make all of the difference in our community.
CSU has announced its new graduate assistant mandatory fee coverage plan. During the September fall address, interim president Rick Miranda mentioned the need for compensation and equity to graduate assistants, specifically when it comes to fees. Now, more information on this plan has surfaced. Starting with in the spring of 2023, graduate assistants in teaching, support, and research will receive partial fee coverage, with the plan being to have them 100% covered by 2025. This implementation will continue to expand over the coming semesters.
Wealth in Numbers, a Fort Collins-based advocacy group for businesses owned by Black, Latino, and Indigenous, or BIPOC, has awarded $25,000 in grants to help minority-owned businesses access capital and resources in Larimer County. With over 30 applications, 16 applicants will receive grants to support needs such as payroll or COVID-19 relief through the Wealth in Numbers program by the BIPOC Alliance. This application process showcased more funding is needed to support more businesses. Aside from the grants awarded, the Alliance has received $50,000 to support minority-owned businesses, entrepreneurs, and additional education programs. Funding requests to help minority-owned businesses thrive in the community have totaled over $188 in Larimer County.
The city of Fort Collins has come up with a solution to the nights where you've had a little too much to drink but don't want to leave your car behind. Fort Collins Parking Service Department recently launched Safe Choice, a program they hope will hit the brakes on the number of drunk drivers. The program lets people who are unable to drive home safely but want to avoid their cars getting ticketed a chance to negate said ticket. Drivers can call Parking Services' number by 10 the following morning and have them waive the ticket. It should be noted that the new program does not cover people in parking garages.
Santa is stopping by a nonprofit organization here in Fort Collins tomorrow for their holiday open house. Child Safe, a nonprofit organization here in Fort Collins, is on its 36th year providing therapy and resources for families and victims of childhood trauma and abuse in northern Colorado. In 2021, Child Safe served a record number of over 1,000 clients, but they have seen an increased demand for services in 2022. 73% of their clients fall below the national poverty line, and they never turn anyone away due to their inability to pay. Their doors for the open house will be open to the public from 4 to 7 in the evening.
Well, that's just wonderful, and I know the kids must have loved all the donations, all the toys, seeing Santa come into town. That has to be great.
Yeah, and there's actually going to be some youth performers there, like performing holiday songs and stuff, so it should be a fun time.
I love Christmas carols. So.
Yeah, me too. They don't do it enough, I feel like.
Exactly.
The Roaring 20s are known for speakeasies, but the best one of 2022 is right here in Old Town Fort Collins. But I'll leave the mystery of finding this bar for you. The entrance of the social in Old Town is tucked away, but the best modern speakeasy in the United States, according to a viral Yelp article, still made it to the top of the list. During the Prohibition era, people gathered at these hidden bars that illegally sold alcohol. In today's age, these establishments embrace the history of this time with bars that mimic the retro style. Their website describes the establishment as a locally owned underground cocktail bar. When I went to social, I got a charcuterie board, an espresso martini, and experienced the Prohibition era, only 100 years later. And with that, that's all the news we have for you tonight, Rams.
However, after the break, Leah
Cackowski
we'll return with some more exciting sports recaps and previews for you all.
Stick around.
Dear moms and dads, we know it's not always been easy, and it's been a lot of hard work. What you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas. Everything I do it for you. Mom, love you all. No, it's true. Everything I do it for you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
How's it going, Rams? I hope you all enjoyed your fall break. I am so happy to be back in the studio for tonight's edition of CAC's Closeout. And guess what? We'll continue from earlier with more hoops action. And well, it's UNC week. That's Northern Colorado, not Chapel Hill. All that and more on CAC's Closeout, which starts right now. Starting off on the women's side, CSU unfortunately came up just short on Tuesday against the Bears, with a final score of 102-91 in triple overtime. That's right, triple overtime. A devastating result for sure, and there were some factors that led into it. Most notably, it was CSU's inefficiency beyond the arc, as the Rams only cashed in 23% of their three-point attempts, compared to their regular 47 clip. Yikes. And it didn't help that the Bears' offense was terrific, sinking just over 50% of their shots, including a more impressive line from deep. Dang. We all know McKenna Hofschild to be a leader, and her team relied on her numbers to keep it tight. However, CSU just couldn't find an answer for UNC guard Gabby Fields, who amassed an outrageous 36 points on the night. The overall game trend is what you'd expect from a nearly 1-hour affair. Back and forth, with the Rams even initiating a comeback in the fourth quarter. But then Green and Gold ran out of gas in that last overtime mark, yielding that bloated score total. The Rams now dropped to 4-3, but no need to panic, keeping in mind that this was their third appearance in just 5 days, so low energy was to be expected. Again, I'm super bummed about that loss, but short-term memory will be key as the Rams have a chance to bounce back this Saturday against Western Michigan. Let's hope they can claim a Moby Arena dub. And now, back to the men's side, where after that impressive second half showing against LMU, the Rams have a quick turn, facing, you guessed it, Northern Colorado on Saturday. The Bears are currently 3-5 on the year, but don't look down on that too much yet. The season is still super early as they were picked second in the preseason polls for the Big Sky Conference. With that in mind, let's dive deeper into this NoCo rivalry set for the weekend. So far, UNC's best performances have been North Dakota State and Jacksonville State, winning by a couple of buckets in each. That said, they've had some tough outings as well, including an 11-point deficit to Colorado Christian and a blowout loss to the currently undefeated New Mexico Lobos. But the Bears have some solid guards that can help them compete. This 2022 campaign features top scorers Dalton Knecht and freshman Caleb Shaw. They also have a stacked graduate roster with David Kuntz and Matt Johnson. But basketball is a team sport, and no, esports is not. Sorry, I'm getting a little off track after the CTV Geeks episode from yesterday. Brandon, we're with you. But in any case, let's compare UNC's numbers with our beloved Rams. Now, as you can see, despite the Bears' 5 losses already, they match up pretty well. Before yesterday's game, the Rams would enter this one shooting 49% from the field, compared to UNC's 42%. The perimeter game is just about even. However, the main difference is the defensive strength, as UNC has turned the ball over 115 times compared to the Green and Gold's mere 80. Wow. Either way, if Colorado State continues to move the ball effectively inside the paint and play good D, I'm not too worried. Besides, a healthy Isaiah Stevens welcomes a whole other level of intensity, and I'm excited to see what goes down in Moby come Saturday. And with that, Rams, that's all the sports action I have for you tonight here on CAC's Closeout. Be sure to tune in on Tuesday for the last CTV short sports show of the semester, and don't go away just yet. We have one more story for you all that is sure to stuff you with all positivity. Tune in after the break for more.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. My name is Abby Flores. The holidays are a time for giving, but an anonymous student who has been leaving crochet octopi around campus reminds us that spreading kindness can be integrated into our lives year-round.
They're cute, squishy, and totally able to put a smile on your face.
An anonymous person on the CSU campus has been leaving these crochet octopi for students to find.
I've always made octopi, like it's been the thing that I teach people how to make just because I think it's easy and fun. And then I thought it would be kind of funny if I just like put them randomly on campus just to like see if anything would happen. So I left 2 and then it got posted on Facebook and then I was like, whoa, people actually like this. So I figured I would keep going.
For many, finding an octopus has been able to bring pure joy during stressful times.
I think my goal here is really just to like spread some joy on campus. I feel like we're all kind of stuck in our ways just going about our lives, and I think it's fun to have something on campus for people to look for, like to just get their heads out of their phones or whatever they're doing or the test that they just had, something to just bring people back out. The majority of the octopi I hide I never hear about again, so it's just fun to speculate where they ended up, and I do feel like the ones that I do hear about, they always end up with people who actually needed them, and I hear stories about people who've had like rough days and they find one on a day that they really needed that extra joy. So it's just a fun thing to encourage in the overall CSU community.
I must say, it is pretty incredible how these tiny octopi can make all the difference in someone's day.
Where can I find this mystery octopi lady?
Yeah, I can't tell you, unfortunately. You can only go to her Instagram, which is Octopi of CSU.
That's the fun of it, JJ, is you have to go find it.
I'm going to get everybody here an octopi, and we're going to have them lined up on this desk. And it's going to be CTV Octopi.
Could be a team bonding experience.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
We could go on an octopus hunt.
We can even make them together.
Oh, we can learn how to crochet.
Yeah, who knows?
We can start our own off-brand octopi to take down the real one.
It's going to be a CTV rivalry. All right, well, Rams, that wraps up tonight's news for you all. Thank you for tuning in.
Make sure not to miss next week's final shows of the semester. Stay safe, and we'll see you all then.
I want to see it again.